Welcome to Between Showings, a podcast where two sisters in real estate sit down with the people behind the homes, businesses, and stories shaping our communities. From real estate and entrepreneurship to design, motherhood, lifestyle, everything in between, these are the conversations happening between showings. And I am so excited to bring on a guest today, Kayla Hunter, who owns Hunter Interiors. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
We are so excited to have you, an interior designer, home stager, all the things. I just adore your work. So I am so
Thank
excited to
you.
chat a little bit about it today.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm excited too.
I'd love to talk about, I think when people say design and they just think like, oh, it's like, it's so pretty. But
Yes.
like to you, why is design so much more than just making a house look pretty?
So design, I talk about this a lot because staging and design, which are two things that I both do, they're very, very different. Staging or decorating a home is kind of working with what's there and adding to it. You're essentially adding a lot of surface level layers to a space, where design, you're able to really change a space, add functionality, change things that maybe aren't working for somebody and fix them to be appropriate for the person's lifestyle. I think the design space is a lot more focused on lifestyle versus just making a space pretty. So yeah.
And you are under tighter time constraints and things like that when you're just home
Yep.
staging versus maybe
Yep.
someone coming in and helping someone remodel and figure out like what is this whole bathroom going to look like or what is this
Yes.
home going to look like. So time
Exactly.
constraints, like all those things.
Yep, exactly. With staging, I mean, we go in, and a lot of stagers will go in, they'll do it all in one day. We usually do two. My husband and I are the movers, so I kind of have to work with his schedule a little bit. So we'll come in an afternoon, usually bring all the big stuff in, and then day two is just adding all the smaller details. Whereas, yeah, exactly like you said, design is we have to really get a feel for, again, the lifestyle, how you're using the space, what's going to actually pull in your specific personality versus trying to appeal to a huge buyer pool and
Yeah.
the masses. So yeah.
Yeah. It's so funny. And you said you and your husband are movers too. I think in just real estate in general, people don't see, like, they just see like the transaction, right? And like negotiations and contract writing and all that stuff. But I mean, the amount of times I've had to take stuff out of houses, I've had to help clean,
Yeah.
rearrange, like, all these things that are not like in your job
Yes.
description or people think of. Um,
Yes.
but it's a difference, like, just your average agent or your average home stager
Yep.
going, doing the thing that just needs to get done or going the extra mile to make it what it needs
Totally.
to be.
Totally. Yeah. And I feel like it's so funny because I think social media obviously helps with that and well, or hurts with that, I guess, really, just because you're only seeing the pretty parts of things. And yeah, I think sometimes people forget that there is like a real human behind the business. And like you might be taking a call like while you've got your, son sitting next to you, or I might be, to answering phone calls and my dogs are barking in the background, like, you
Yeah,
know.
just for
Yeah.
life.
Yes.
So I really want to know like a little bit about your story. What
Okay.
made you get into this field?
So my story is definitely a little interesting.
I love
So I
that.
actually went to school for accounting, so
Okay.
totally different space
Yeah,
than
different
obviously
side of
I
the
end up.
brain.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. And I wouldn't change it. It's how I met my husband. So I mean it worked out how it was supposed to. But yeah, I went to school for accounting. I worked as a financial analyst for a couple of years at a really big company out in Brookfield. And I was like, I just feel so unfulfilled. Like I just felt bored. Honestly, going into even the interviews for that job, like I told them from the jump that like my dream was to have a business someday. Like I was not gonna, which may be a little bold, maybe not the best thing in an interview, but whatever. I got the job, so it's
Yeah.
fine. But yeah, I that was kind of always the end goal for me. I didn't know what that was gonna look like. I mean, even gosh, from like a young age, I remember with my stepmom and my dad, I had this little like business where I would cook food for people that she worked with, and like they would pay for things and take it. And then from there, I did like furniture refinishing for a while in college. And I mean, hey, that helped pay the bills, so it worked. And then, yeah, after that, again, I didn't really know what I wanted to do in college. And so accounting seemed like a safe bet for me. And so, yeah, after doing that for a couple years, I'm like, I can't. I gave this a fair shot. Like, I
Yeah.
can't do it forever. And so I actually moved into real estate then. I'd always been really interested in real estate and design. And I mean, I remember like from a young age, I would tell my mom, like, oh, we need to paint this wall, or like, let's rearrange this room or whatever, like from a
Yeah.
young age, and so I think that's always been something I was interested in. I grew up in a smaller town. Like that
Yeah.
didn't seem like something that would be a real job, like, or something that I could make a go of. So yeah, so I got into real estate, and that's how I figured out, okay, well, I can at least do home staging, and the design realm is, I'm still new to it, obviously. Like I've only been doing it for a couple of years, and it's a very intimidating space to be a part of. To be honest, there are so many people who they've obviously gone to school, and there are things that I don't offer that I know like a designer has the background for, as far as like architecture stuff and things like that. So I think I know my limits. Like I'm not here to offer people things that I don't feel like I'd be capable of helping
Right.
with. But yeah, that's kind of the backstory. So it's always, people are like, what do you mean you went to school for accounting and like you're
Yeah.
here? But yeah,
Well, it gives you a
it
little bit of
worked out.
business acumen,
Yes, totally.
background.
Yeah.
You still have to manage your books and all the things being a business owner.
Yes.
So
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I love
So,
that. No, that's super cool. I also have a kind of like non-traditional background, and I've been in marketing, corporate marketing for almost 9 years,
okay.
and done real estate part-time
Okay.
for about five.
Yep.
And just this year, quit marketing entirely to dive fully into real estate. So it's been an interesting transition,
How's that
and
been?
it's been wonderful for me.
Love
I
it.
really enjoyed it. I am not a 9 to 5 person.
Same.
And so
Yes.
being like surviving in that structure was
Yeah.
always really challenging for me.
Yep.
Um, and then I did some events, stuff like that. So that kind of changed it up a little bit, but
Yeah.
I am like not a 9 to 5 person. When they're like, real estate's not 9 to 5, and I'm like, that doesn't scare me. That actually
Yeah.
sounds amazing.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can go take Graham for lunch on a Tuesday if I
Yeah.
want to, and then do showings at night or whatever. It's really nice to fit your life
Totally.
into work versus vice versa.
Yeah, and I feel like that's so important. Like I feel like being able to fit that and like prioritize that, especially when you do have kids and a family, like
Yeah.
that should come first. So, yeah.
What made you kind of realize that? I mean, I know you're like accounting was just like dry, it was boring, it was dull.
Yeah.
And then you went into real estate, but like what was there like a single moment that made you take the leap and was like, I'm just gonna start my own like business and I'm gonna go full in on this design.
Yeah, I will say, like, I'm very lucky because my husband is so supportive, and like he always seems to just hop right on board with all these ideas that I have. And so that has been, I think, a huge driver for me of like being comfortable enough to do it. And then I remember talking to, Alexis is part of Powerhouse Partners. Yeah. So I remember talking to her, oh my gosh, a long time ago. And I was like, I'm kind of tossing this idea around before you get into real estate. Like, I didn't even really realize staging was a thing, and I mean, why would you, right? Like, so I didn't really realize that was a thing. And then I'm like, this kind of would be the perfect way for me to show people like what I actually can do before just hopping right into the design world and styling world. And again, staging, it's so different than design, but at least it gives you some sort of portfolio to work with
Yeah.
as a platform. So yeah, I remember talking with her and I was like, "Oh, I don't know, like I'm tossing this around. What do you think?" And she's like, I think you should go for it. Like I would give it a shot. Like I would hire you. Like I would take the leap of faith. And so she was the first one that I worked with, and I I was like, I'll charge you pretty much nothing. Like, I
Yeah.
just need to cover my moving costs at that point, and like, I just need to get some experience. And so she thankfully trusted me, and I came in and did a little stage for her. And from there, I mean, it just like took off. And she was able to share my work, and that helped. And I was able to share it then. And so yeah, it just kind of took off from there. And I once I realized like what staging was and that that could be a career, I was like, again, this is the perfect opportunity to kind of get into what I want to actually do. So yeah, it worked out. I'm lucky, like I'm very lucky. And I think having like the real estate background and connections
Yeah.
first obviously helped a ton. So I'm really thankful for that. Yeah.
And Alexis is a great connection and resource, and she's always so helpful and all.
Yeah.
So
She
that's
seems to
awesome.
know everybody, so that helps.
She
Yeah.
does. I see this especially when you get into like we're in such a crazy market still where it's like low inventory, over asking purchases and all the things. But when you get into kind of that higher price point home, I see this a lot where if it's not staged well, it sits on the market because a lot of just kind of regular, I don't know how else to say it, but just like regular, your normal people
Yeah.
walk into a house and they can't see past what is
Yes.
there. Yeah.
Yep.
How do you think like home staging actually helps sell a house, or what are things that you do to make
Yeah.
sure it's like appealing to the masses?
Yeah, I think it's so much more important than people realize, and it is really really hard to get sellers on board sometimes because until they actually see a home staged, it's really hard for them to trust and like consider what difference it could make. They're like, our house is already furnished and we already have artwork on our walls, but the really big thing is making it feel cohesive and making it feel really intentional and helping to highlight kind of the things that help the home stand out that maybe are being masked by maybe furniture that's not the right size, or maybe it's when you move into your first house you're getting a lot of mom and dad's old furniture or like grandma and grandpa's, and things just don't always like work together. And it's hard for people who have been living in a space for a long time to see that because they get comfortable and they're like, it's fine, it works, like it's fine. And that's true, but like we want to make it look phenomenal, not just fine, because when a buyer walks in, it's all about creating that emotional connection, and they are judging us based on the things that they walk into it. So it's super important that yeah, it flows. It's you want to still have the detail stuff. Like I'm a huge detail person. I love all the little, the little trinkets and things, but you don't want to overdo it either where it looks cluttered and again is taking away from the home's features. So I think it's really all about emphasizing what's there in the house and um yeah, making it shine. I mean, some people too, like their perceived value as far as like what is going to need to be done when they move in,
Hmm.
the renovations seem like so much less when you have a home staged. So the perceived renovation
Yeah.
seems a lot less when you've got the home staged because maybe there's honey oak. Like look at my house, through I have honey oak throughout my whole entire house, and I don't love it, but like for now I'm working with it till we're
Yeah.
renovating the whole thing, right? And so it's let's pull some things in that kind of complement that versus trying to fight it. And you would be so surprised, like the difference that it can make. And people are like, oh, wait, this, I don't even mind honey oak. Like it's fine, like I can work with it. Or maybe people have gray floors, which we know are out the window. Like that
No
was a very
way.
short-lived trend, right? Like so, and maybe we're throwing like a jute rug down to warm things up and like bringing in different textures and things. And so it's a lot more strategic than people realize, I think, and it's very much just should be a part of a marketing plan versus a second thought.
Totally. Yeah. And I'm
Yeah.
I'm sure like it's very similar when like I get a listing and like you said, they've lived there, so like
Yeah.
it's fine, and it's like you have to put yourself in a buyer's shoes, and just because you're living with a slight roof leak and it's not bothering you doesn't mean that
Yes.
the buyer wants to assume that when they
Yeah.
purchase the home, you know.
Yeah.
It's like, and then it's just a really hard thing to kind of get over that emotional attachment because it's been their home for 10, 20, 30 years and
Yes.
it's fine, right? And it's the,
Yes.
maybe it's their style, but their style is not
Exactly.
everyone's style. So you like have to be sure to tread lightly and offend them.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's so hard, and it like totally is this dance of, okay, what do I say? And that's why it's kind of nice for you, like as
Yeah.
a real estate agent, you can bring me in and I can be the bad guy, and
Yeah.
I can be the person to be like, okay, this is absolutely not about you. It's not about your personal taste anymore. Like I try to tell sellers a lot, and this kind of sounds harsh, but I try to tell them a lot that this house, you have to get in the mindset that it's no longer yours. And like you are trying to appeal to the masses. We're not personalizing or tailoring things to your specific taste anymore. And we're just trying to appeal to as many people. And that's the hard thing. Like, when people they have spent a lot of time decorating, but it's not necessarily the best taste or, whatever. It's hard because they're emotionally attached to it too. But yeah, it's tough, but it is nice. Like you can make me the bad guy, and sometimes it's like better received for whatever reason from the stager. So yeah.
Totally. What do you feel like is the best room in a house to invest in if someone was trying to get their home ready to list, didn't have a ton of money, but maybe some areas could use like a bit more improvement?
Yeah.
Do you think there's like certain rooms that are better?
I think like kitchen and bathrooms sell houses, and like that. I it's tough because it's a hard like balance when you're talking about just preparing the house for sale, cuz obviously without completely renovating the whole room it can be kind of tough. So I tell people like paint, light fixtures and hardware are going to be your best friend, and like those things make the most impact for the least amount of investment. But they really do make a difference. So maybe it's even just like swapping out some cabinet hardware and maybe like the light fixture in the kitchen or something. And then pairing that with, staging, it can really help. But
It just reminded me of when we moved into our house. The
yeah.
like dining room, it was like the upper part was navy and then the bottom was white, and then our sunroom was like mustard yellow, and then
Oh my gosh.
the, the rest of the house was just like this awful like shade of like tan but with like a peach hue under it, and it was just like
Yes.
so bad. And
Yes.
but I just walked in, I'm like, oh, we're just paint the whole thing before we come in, like not a big
Yes.
deal. But
Yes.
I feel like it totally deterred other people from
Yeah.
making an offer because I mean, it didn't look like beautiful by any means.
Yeah, and so many people are like, "Oh my gosh, I don't want to lift a finger when I move into a
Yeah,
space." Like there are some people who like you and me who I walked into my house and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is going to be so fun because I can
yeah,
make exactly what I want." But like if you cannot see past that, then it's all people focus on too. It's like it's such a simple thing that you could change, or even if you don't do the painting yourself, like if you just hire it out and do that, it's like so worth the investment.
it is. Do
Yeah.
you feel like there's something that homeowners spend money on that they think is important and it's just really doesn't matter that much?
I would say like just anything that's overly personalized, right? Like try to if you're not staying in a house and you're going to like do a renovation, right? Like try really hard to make sure that you're keeping it more neutral and I mean honestly maybe that's even coming to a realtor like you and like asking what is going to be best and what comps are looking like too, because you don't want to over renovate something either.
Yeah.
If
You
it's
just can't get the money for it because it's just
yeah.
homes aren't selling like that in the market that they're in. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. And I think people like for kitchens, for example, some people will go way overboard and they'll spend, maybe they're going to put in marble instead of just a quartz or something
Yeah.
like that, where none of the comps have marble and they're not going to get the money back for that, even though they think they're going to. And then they're like, oh, what the heck? I renovated my whole kitchen and now
Yeah.
I'm not getting the return on investment that I thought. So I think that's where it is really important for people to just talk to even a real estate professional just to say, hey, like, what are comps looking like? If I'm going to be going to market, does it make sense to do this? Where if it's your forever home, like totally different story, or a house that you're going to be staying in like really long term, then do whatever you want to do. But like, yeah, if you're just going to be going to market, try not to go overboard too.
Yeah, totally. I also feel like just curb appeal is like huge when it
Yes.
comes to selling homes. Like is your front door nice? Like the door
Yep,
handle, is it fresh or is like paint peeling off of it? Like what do your
totally.
garage doors look like? I feel like that is huge.
Yeah, and I feel like the front door for sure because it's like that is the absolute very first. I mean, other than landscape, which that too can make a huge difference, but like your front door is the very first thing that people are seeing. And if it's all, dinged up or the color's really ugly or whatever, like people are already judging it. They didn't even
Yeah.
step foot in your house yet. Like they're already making assumptions about your house and how it's taken care of and things. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's like 7 seconds it takes someone to judge a person on
Yeah.
something, and it's like same with the house.
Yes, totally. Totally.
Are there trends you're seeing right now that you're just like loving?
Oh my gosh, there are a lot, and some of them I feel like are gonna be very lasting. Like, I
Yeah.
think right now everyone's all into like the very collected, curated look and,
Mhm.
lots of layers and not necessarily just all white and beige and gray and black and
Yeah.
white anymore. It's like, let's bring some personality in. And I think that is going to withstand the test of time a bit better because those things are very reflective of like the person that's living there. So you're not going
Mhm.
to think to yourself 5 years from now, oh, I don't like that anymore because it is more reflective of you as a person. So I think that's one big thing. I've loved the earthy tones,
Yeah.
like the greens and like the, browns and things like that. Green, it's maybe starting to get a bit overused. Like we might start seeing that be like the gray that is now out, but I think if done the right way, and I think if it's more muted, it's still going to be very like timeless. And again, if you're sticking to things that are more earthy and natural looking, I think those things are going to withstand the test of time a lot better. Any like natural materials or natural colors that you could find if you look out your door, like those things are going to last a bit longer. So, yeah.
Any like trends you're happy to see gone, like millennial gray? Like I am so glad that's gone.
Totally. Totally millennial gray. I think the like black and white, very harsh
Yeah.
exterior colors, I'm
Yeah.
super excited that those are starting to go.
Mhm.
Even if you have that and you just pull in some like cedar or some natural elements, like that's even way better to me. But I think for a
Mhm.
while there we were seeing like all black exteriors or like the really harsh black and white. Like they
Yeah.
always say, if you're going to be painting your house white, you actually want to do like a creamy color because it's so harsh on the eye when you're comparing it to nature and what you're seeing outside. So I think those things I'm super excited to see go. And then just the inside and in terms of the interior, like definitely all white everything, all beige everything. Like let's bring in a little bit of personality again. And so yeah, those would be my top things, I think.
Um, all right, I do have some fun rapid fire questions for you. So these are kind of like rapid fire myth busting
Yeah.
statements actually. So
Okay.
I'm gonna just say them to you and then you just react whether it's a few sentences, a yes or no, whatever you think. Gray is dead, which I think we covered.
Gray is mostly dead. I will say there's some caveats because I think if you're using it intentionally or it's more on like the neutral side of things, like the cool tone grays, I agree, mostly dead. But if you got like a grayish type color, like a gray beigey color or something with some warmer undertones, or you're using it in a way that's more intentional, I think it's still okay. So not completely, but mostly. Oh
Um, Everything has to match.
my gosh, no. I try to stay really clear of this because, anybody can go to the store. Like, you think of those matching furniture sets, like, our
Yeah,
parents all bought them, right? It was
yeah.
just the easy thing to do. You go to the store, you find what's on the floor, and you match everything. Mixing things, it looks so much more expensive. It looks so much more intentional. You can add so much more personality. And then you can also layer in different textures and materials and things like that. So it looks so much more, yeah, just expensive and it looks much more thought out if you don't match everything.
Small rooms should always be white.
Not necessarily. I think it depends on the room, but I think you'd be surprised, especially if you're color drenching a space and it's all a dark color, can actually look a lot bigger. So it just depends on the space. I guess that's kind of a weird one, but
Open shelving is practical. Like,
depends on the person.
like was a big thing with like kitchen like
Yes,
models in the last like couple years where they had like
totally.
it was like the stove or whatever your focal thing was, and then it was like the open
Yep.
shelving next to it.
Yeah. And
Like,
sometimes I think it's still nice. Like there are spaces like if you have a really small kitchen, sometimes having like really tall upper cabinetry can be overwhelming and make it feel smaller in a weird way.
yeah.
But I think it also depends on the person and their lifestyle because if you have somebody who's just generally not going to put things back to like look nice, like
Mhm.
aka our husband, like they're not always the best. So I think in like small doses they can
Yeah.
be practical, but more often than that it's just for aesthetics. So
Right. I have shelving all around me, but I'm in our office. It's like a study light.
that's different. It's like a built-in vibe.
Yes, I, l-
Yeah.
I fell in love with this room when we found this house. I like always wanted a library office.
Yes. Oh, me too.
I
Totally.
always wanted like a rolling ladder.
Oh,
We have that.
that's the dream, right? Yes.
Wallpaper is outdated, or do you think it will
Absolutely.
get dated because it's very trendy right now?
I feel like it is definitely trendy right now. That is for sure. So it's definitely back in. I think again, it's just being intentional about the pattern and colors that you're using. I think there are some people who are like, "Oh my gosh, I love wallpaper. Let's do the whole house." Like, and we're going to do all different patterns and colors and like if that's what you want to do, that's fine. But I'm telling you, in a few years from now, you might regret that. And, it's not the most fun thing to take down. Like, there are better, I think, installation methods now. So it is a little bit easier. But I think if you're doing, I hate to use the word timeless too much, but like if you're doing colors and patterns like stripes, for example, or like maybe a little bit more muted of color tones or whatever it may be, like that is going to last a little bit longer. But I mean, again, at the end of the day, like do whatever you want in your
Yeah.
house, right? Yeah.
This is like a personal question. Have you ever used peel and stick wallpaper? And like, what are your thoughts on it? Because I've like dabbled and looked at it because I'm like, could I do this
Yes.
myself? Or
Yes. So I've had a couple of clients who either their budget didn't allow for normal traditional wallpaper, because I will say it's definitely more expensive. And then you're having an installer come and install it. So just all around, it's like more of an investment. So I've had clients who like either their budget didn't allow for it or they're like the DIY kings
yeah,
and queens and they just want to do it themselves. And I've had somebody did a ceiling. They did say that was like the biggest pain. Yeah, which I mean that would be no matter if it's peel and stick or not, I think, because
yeah,
you're working overhead. But they did it just fine and it looked great. And then I just had a client who they're doing it in a downstairs bathroom. And again, they're like, it's a downstairs bathroom. Like we
yeah,
don't need to go crazy budget wise, right? Like, so they did a peel and stick. And again, I mean, it looked great. I think it's a bit of a pain to install. It's definitely less forgiving than like a paste method, because with the paste you can kind of shimmy and like move things around, whereas if you're sticking it down you're having to like pull it up. So I think from that perspective it can be a little tricky, but I mean people have done it and it turned out great. So yeah.
so I just have like really textured walls. So I'm like, would I have to sand them down or like, what does that look like? Probably.
Yeah, I would.
Mm,
I guess it depends too on like the pattern of the wallpaper and the colors, because some are definitely more forgiving with that.
yeah.
But 9 times out of 10, we have to like sand them down. Or if you don't want to sand down the walls, you can put like a backer board
Mm,
over your wall
yeah.
texture, and then you've got the smooth surface to work with. But yeah,
Interesting.
yeah.
Well, let's talk like a little bit of trends quick. What are your clients asking for like right now, whether it's like staging, design?
Yeah, so much green. Like so much green. And like I said, I mean I love green too, so I'm not really I go for it. I think again just like done in a way that's not gonna like it's not super super green,
Hmm.
and it's maybe not like all over green, right?
Yeah.
Um but I think green is probably the biggest thing, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's the biggest thing. I've seen so many people who are doing like white oak and Taj Mahal, right? Like countertops. I think those are probably going to be something we look back on way down the road
Yeah.
and are like, wow, this really puts us in, 2025 and 2026 and
Yeah.
whatever, but they are beautiful. So
I
I
do
feel like
feel like
those are the big things. Yeah.
I feel like when that like light maple wood started coming back in, I had just like immediate flashbacks to like early 2000s.
Yeah.
And I just didn't know if I like loved it in like cabinetry specifically. Because
Yeah.
a lot of times to me, it can look really like manufactured and not real. I think
Totally.
that's kind of my opinion, but
Yeah, no, 100%. And especially like I've seen it, especially with like staging items, because let's be honest, I'm not buying like thousands of dollars worth or
yeah,
like per piece, right,
right,
that I'm working with, because
right.
it's just gonna get dinged up moving.
Yeah,
So I've bought things before and I'm like, oh my gosh, this looks so yellow, or yeah, like the
yeah.
wood grain looks so fake or whatever. So I feel like it's way less forgiving than like darker wood tones.
Are there
Yeah.
any, I know we talked about green a lot. Are there any other colors that like you're kind of loving that
Yeah.
are coming in?
Yeah, totally. I love like the creamy whites. I will say the creamy whites for sure. I've been telling everybody, so when I do staging consultations, I'll go in and I'll give kind of suggestions too of like things that they can do to improve spaces, and I'm like, your walls got to be creamy white and I'm telling
Yeah.
you, So that's like my one big thing. But yeah, definitely just like everything earthy. Like I'm just really big into the earthy right now. The greens, the browns, the like terracotta colors, some of like the warmer blues, and yeah, just warm colors right now.
What do you feel about like mixed metals? Like if you had, can you have like stainless, brass, black? Like what are you thinking about that?
Of mixing metals. I think you have to be very like careful and intentional. Like you don't want to have too many in one space. Usually I try to stick to two. I think you can get away with three if it's done well. Um, but typically I'm doing two, and it adds a lot of visual interest. And it looks a bit less builder grade if you're doing that. But yeah, I think you have to be intentional about it too.
What do you think? I have like a strong opinion on this. What do you think about like, built-ins around like a fireplace or TV, like the side built-ins?
Oh my gosh, watch my opinion be different. You're gonna be like, oh. No, I love built-ins.
You
Like
do? I do
the
not.
more built-ins, really, oh my gosh, I love them. I love them because I think they add a lot of functionality.
Okay.
Again, if they're done right. I think random ones in random places, like you do see that with older houses. You're
Yeah.
like, this doesn't even make sense here.
Yeah.
Why is this here? But I think if you're doing them in the right way, totally, because again, like it's architectural, it's
Yeah.
interesting architecturally, and there's storage, so you've got the functionality perspective. And I do love having like the open shelves and the built-ins. It's
Yeah.
fun to decorate. Like you've got to have
It
some
is fun to
space to
You have,
decorate.
yes. I
Yeah,
was always like, I imagine being like, maybe it's because I like couldn't make a decision, but I'm like, what if I would want to change like th those areas at some point?
I get what you're
I get
saying.
like, I don't know, like stressed about it. What if I want to have a chair there instead at some point instead of all of
Fair.
this storage space or
Yeah.
shelving? I don't know. That's
You
just,
can put a chair in front of a built-in, that's
yeah,
fine.
that's true. They can be beautiful when they're done right. I
That's
completely
so
agree.
funny.
They are something that I do love, but always just, I don't, I think I've been getting really sick of the very open concept, like a ramp, a Jack and Jill, and then a master, and then kitchen living room in the middle where they're open to each other, and then there's the fireplace, and then there's the built-ins. It's just like I think that has been super, I'm just so sick of that, I think. So it just all spirals.
Well, and I think we like went so far one way with that. Like you look at, the barn dominiums or whatever people were calling it, where it's literally just one big open space and like there's no defined rooms anymore. And I feel like I kind of fall in the middle. Like I like some of the entertaining spaces to be a little more open, but still have like defined spaces, right? Like you can still clearly tell like this is the dining room or this is the living room. Like they're not just all one big open room, right? Like you've still got headers or even like partial walls or something in between to separate. Like, yeah,
I think too, like for design and decorating, for someone
yeah,
who's not like necessarily like that's like not their expertise or niche or it's not something
yeah,
they super love, it can be hard to decorate those like very open spaces or
yes,
position furniture appropriately or things like that.
yeah. I see that all the time. People think that when they walk into a room and it's all open, No, people think when they walk into these houses and they're all open that it's actually going to be better, but they struggle a lot of times with figuring out like, well, if this isn't against a wall, what do I do?
Yeah. Uh, one last lightning round where it's just this or this, then we'll close up.
Sounds good.
All right, choose one. White oak or walnut?
That's really tough. I think I think white oak, but it doesn't always need to be stained
Mm,
light.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Quartz or granite?
This one's really hard. I think I really tend to always choose natural materials, and
Yeah.
so granite is more natural. I think it gets a really bad rap because you think about like the 90s and early 2000s when you had like that really busy granite where it was like the tan base and then you had those speckles all over. But there are definitely like really pretty, a lot less busy options of granite. Quartz, I like quartz for like the durability,
I was just saying,
obviously.
a little easier to take care of.
Totally. Quartz is if you have kids or you have just like a really busy, or maybe you just know you're messy, like that is the way to go. And there definitely are versions of quartz that don't look so man-made, but there are a lot of versions that look so man-made. The
Yeah.
veins do not look real
Yeah.
and they tend to all look the same. So I think if you're like doing it the right way, quartz for like busy lifestyle, but granite for the natural material. So
Hardwood,
TBD.
hardwood or luxury vinyl?
Okay, this is going to be a very controversial answer, but totally hardwood if it's in your budget and you can make it work with your lifestyle. I think it's one of those things if you go in with the right mindset and you know that it's going to kind of patina and like get worn over time and you can refinish it in, 5 years, 10 years, whatever you need to do it. It's beautiful. And honestly, sometimes I think it's pretty when it's worn a little bit, like to an extent, obviously, and you're using hardwoods, right? You're not using a softwood like pine or something, but on the other side of that coin, like luxury vinyl plank is great for people who, again, like they have pets, they have kids, they have really busy lifestyles. They don't want to be refinishing things in 5 years from now or, whatever. Like it is definitely more durable. So
We have real hardwood in our main floor and it needs
yeah.
finished.
So how do you like it, like
I also
living
have a
with it?
dog. I
Yeah.
love it. It
Yeah.
has a more yellow, like the one we have is like more
Yeah.
yellow. So I would die to refinish it and like kind of make it more blonde.
Yes,
But it just seems silly right now with like a toddler and toys and
exactly.
like dog nails on it all the time.
Yes. Yep.
Maybe years, I don't know.
Just leave it for now. Yeah.
Roman shades or curtains?
Ooh, both. Can I say both for this
Yeah,
one?
I'm with you.
Both.
Brass or black hardware? Probably both too.
Probably brass more so.
Yeah.
Black, okay. Black, I have a love-hate relationship. I think again, if it's done like in the right way, it's good. I think it was like very much overused in the last 5 years or so. And I would stay far, far away from it in terms of like faucets and shower heads and things like that. Cause oh my gosh, they're a nightmare. They show everything. So I would say probably brass more often.
Painted cabinets or stained?
That's a really hard one too. I do like both. I like that painted can be more timeless, right? Because wood tones tend to just be a little bit more trendy, to be honest. I think there are wood tones that do withstand the test of time, but like, you tend to see like you're gonna see the light woods and things like that from this period of time. And if you look back a little further, it was darker woods or you had cherry or whatever. So but I do like that wood can bring some warmth into a kitchen. Like an all white kitchen is gonna like I don't think they really ever do go out of style. I really don't. But if you have some wood in there, it really brings a lot of warmth. So
And it just makes it, I think it adds kind of like we were saying before, that more luxury feeling and
yeah, totally. Yeah, I agree.
open concept or defined rooms.
I think a little more defined. I would tend to lean a little bit more. I mean, it is nice having things be open and as far as like a good flow, right? And like especially for your entertaining spaces, your living room, kitchen, dining room where you're gathering more often. But I still think that you can have good flow but be defined.
Yes.
Yeah.
Vintage Like if you had to go buy stuff vintage or brand new, or maybe a mix.
I'm a mix for sure. I love like sprinkling in vintage for sure. I think it adds so much character and it's a lot more. I think you can get that like unique feel a lot more with vintage things, but you don't want to overdo it either because then the whole room feels so dated. So sprinkled in, totally vintage, but mixed with some new.
Would you splurge or save on rugs?
Ooh, okay. I think it depends on the space. I think primary spaces, like a living room or something, splurge because you're in there so much more. You want something that's going to be more durable, like, a wool or something, and those just are more expensive because they do last longer. And then like your secondary spaces, bedrooms or things like that, I would save on them, but for spaces that you're in, often splurge.
If someone walks away from this episode remembering just one thing about creating a home they love, what would you want it to be?
I would say at the end of the day, like it is your home. Yes, there are trends and yes, there are things that everybody is doing, but you can make yourself crazy if you spend too much time on social media and Pinterest and things like that. And you may still not even love it at the end of the day. So, as hard as it sometimes is, like do what you want to do, even if your designer is telling you no or whatever. Do what you want, and there is something to be said for like trusting your designer at the end of the day and their vision, but you still want to make sure that your personality is infused into whatever you're doing. So I would say take what you see on social media with a grain of salt. Yeah.
And lastly, where can people find you if they want to follow you and your website, socials, all that good stuff?
Yeah, so my website is www.hunterinteriorsco.com, and social media, I really mainly do Instagram, Facebook sometimes, but Instagram is hunterinteriors_co. And so even that I'm not the best with updating, I will admit, but you'll see some stuff on there. So thanks.
Thanks so much for joining me today. It was just
Yeah.
fun to have you and hear about all the awesome ins and outs of design and home staging.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
And thanks for hanging out with us between showings. If you love this episode, make sure to subscribe, leave a review, share it with someone who would love the conversation. And you can follow us on Instagram and stream anywhere you get your podcasts. And we'll see you next time between showings.